Hey, I'm Sophia with SOS. Did you know that Black women continue to be diagnosed with HIV at disproportionately high rates compared to white and Latina women, according to the Center of Disease Control? Despite recent progress that has seen new HIV diagnoses decrease, Black women continue to account for 6 in 10 new HIV infections among women. SOS Saving Our Sisters from HIV/AIDS is a signature service of Sisters for Sisters, Inc., a nonprofit organization dedicated to providing HIV/AIDS education, awareness, and prevention for women and girls. We are committed to saving our sisters from HIV/AIDS. Our mission is to provide culturally sensitive outreach programs to save and end HIV in our community. For over 10 years, we have hosted more than 70 community outreach projects to address the stigma while providing a safe space to share real talk on sexual health, HIV/AIDS, and sexually transmitted diseases. Please get tested and know your status. Together, we end HIV/AIDS one sister, one community at a time.
Thank you, Sophia. Thank you all for joining us tonight for our couch conversation. That's right. Every month we bring a conversation pertaining to healthy relationships, HIV, and those subjects that really, really touch the hearts of women and our entire community. I'm Carolyn White Washington, founder and executive director emeritus of Sisters for Sisters Incorporated. For 23 years, we've been educating, empowering, enlightening, and uplifting women and girls throughout Prince George's County and beyond. Our SOS project was birthed out of a place of pain. I lost some family members and close friends to the AIDS. And sadly, people didn't want to talk about it. There was such a negative spirit surrounding it versus education. And this has been a passion of mine, as well as the director, volunteer of SOS, Sister Maggie Lewis. She's a part, as well as a village. We have a village of women and men who find this subject to be very important. And today we're going to talk about HIV, AIDS, and mental health as we observe National Mental Health Awareness Month, which we know in our community and all communities, mental health awareness and education should be every day and every month throughout the year. So we're just excited about tonight and what we hope to be an enlightening, engaging conversation. So grab a snack, grab a friend, come on in. This is very relaxed. We got some great, great guests with us tonight. But again, we thank you for joining SOS, Saving Our Sisters from HIV/AIDS. Here's a reflection of some of our other work in the community.
Ooh, baby, love save me, take care for you and me. To all my men and my woman out there. Ha. Ooh, HIV is a place where you don't wanna be. Take care of yourself and everybody. Take care. Over and over and over again. Remember, your safety is for you, it's for them. Ooh, baby, love safely, take care for you and me. To all my men and my woman out there. Ha. Ooh, HIV is a place where you don't wanna be. Take care of yourself and everybody else. You don't want your health to go in the wrong direction. Gotta stay safe, gotta use protection. Take care. Over and over and over again. Remember, your safety is for you, it's for them. Over and over and over again. Remember your heart, your place. Keep it safe. Stay safe.
Stay safe. Sisters for Sisters Inc. at HIV one thing is for sure, we couldn't do any of this without great partners in our community, people that help us to keep the light going, keep us educated on what's happening, and always, always showing up. And two of our guests tonight have been there on the front line for many, many years from day one. And we appreciate them, as well as our other partners that may not be on tonight, but they're still keeping the light shining and educating our community. Our first one is our sister Sharon Coker, who happens to be as well one of our Circle of Grace honorees for possibilities from last year. But before back then, Sharon has been on the front line. Anytime we call her to discuss the subject, she's always available. She's always supporting the families that we're working with. She's always shining the light. And Sharon is the executive director of SLK Health Services Corporation, and we're glad to have her tonight. Along with Sister Sharon, as we have Sister Angie, my girl. She has always been an advocate, not just for the domestic violence and SOS, which is the HIV, but also homelessness. Anything that pertains to the well-being and the humanity and care for our community, especially women. Angela has been available, and we're so thankful to have them as our special guests on this afternoon or evening as we discuss the mental health aspect after HIV and AIDS. But before that, we're going to share just a little bit more about why we do what we do.
I am the lead peer educator and program assistant for the AFIA Center. Right now, I am training HIV positive people to become peer educators and to disclose their status. I found out I was HIV positive while in a treatment facility for substance abuse. I had made some bad choices in my life that landed me there, and I decided to go ahead and take the HIV test. And back then it was a blood draw and you had to wait 2 weeks. So I waited 2 weeks and came back. They came back and they called me back there. And she said, it doesn't look good. And I said, what doesn't look good? And she said, it doesn't look good, and she walked out. And I knew right there and then I was HIV positive.
TPA. The Texas Plus America pageant had they call it a boot camp or a training institute where they teach you how to walk and speak and sit and the whole nine. And I was up bright and early waiting on Michelle to make her entrance.
I thought I was Beyonce when I walked in from her reaction.
I had my book in hand. I was ready for her autograph, and she was just like so gracious, trying to act like she wasn't a celebrity or anything. I tease her about that all the time.
You'll be okay. You're not going to die. I thought I was going to die when I first found out, but you're not going to die. HIV is easily, you can live with it, if you take your medications, if you educate yourself on it, and that there's life outside of HIV. HIV is just a diagnosis. That doesn't mean you have to stop living.
There's a lot of negativity that comes along with it because of the stigma attached to it. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, you have to be yourself, and you have to know that HIV is what you have and not who you are. Right. It shouldn't determine what you do or where you go or how you see yourself. You have to have a high self-esteem and not allow it to tear you down.
If I can do my part to save someone's life, then this is my duty to do this. Let's stop HIV together. Get the facts, get tested, get involved.
outstanding. Arise Queen is our theme for 2022. It's our time and it's our turn. And this evening we have an outstanding poet who is a young queen. And we're so delighted to have her again tonight. And that's Sister Mad Art is her tagline. We're happy to have you and welcome again this evening.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much. Give me 1 second. I'm getting to a quiet place.
Okay. We're glad to have you. I want you all to welcome this amazing artist. She is one of our young queens that we want to continue to encourage our young women and all of our sisters. We are in this life thing together, so we have to encourage one another. Just let me know when you're ready, my dear. And our guests, you're coming up next. We're glad to have you all. We want to not just break the stigma, but we want to discuss the impact on mental health as it relates to those who are living with the HIV virus or full-blown AIDS. What does that look like? What are some of the resources? How can we be more impactful? How can we help them just get the care they need, or just whatever we can do to be a part of the solution and not a part of the problem? And those that are experiencing mental health trials and tribulations, where they can go to get support. Because it is, I know it's a cliche, but it's real. It's okay not to be okay. It's fine. Sister, are you available? Are you ready? Okay. Well, she might be still trying to find that quiet place, and we don't want to miss anything. So we're going to bring our guests on, Sister Angie and Sharon. We want you all to just come in. I just want to ask some general questions, and you all definitely take it from there, as you always do. But tell us a little bit about yourself, Sister Sharon. You can start, and then Angie, and then we'll just get down and try to figure this thing out. Hey, Sharon.
Hey, Miss Carolyn, how are you? And thank you so much for having me. And it's always a pleasure to see Miss Angela. I enjoy each and every time I get to have the opportunity to see her speak. I am Sharon Coker, the Executive Director of SOK Health Services, and we are located in Lanham, Maryland, in Prince George's County, a county that proudly stands number one for having the highest rate of new infection of HIV, which is not a good thing. And so I'm glad we're going to have this conversation this evening, because we have got to do things differently if we're going to change the narrative and the outcomes that's affecting so many women and men of color in our community.
Right. Sister Angela, all the way from Durham, North Carolina. How are you tonight, my dear? How are you?
I'm fine. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh.
Hi,
Oh, okay. Hey. Oh,
Angela Vick, and I call her Angie Baby, and a whole bunch of other loving words. How you
yes.
doing, girl? We glad to have you.
I'm fine. Hello, everyone. I am Angela, Angie or Angel. You know, I'm Angie up there. I'm Angel here. But I am a dedicated advocate for HIV and AIDS for our Black and Brown sisters. I relocated down here to Durham after being positive and a deal that I made with God, you know, when I first got diagnosed. So I'll leave it like that to share a little bit more later. But thank you everyone for coming. And hey, Sharon.
Good energy. You know, they got a song that says good vibes, good vibes. And every time I'm around either of you, it's just good vibes, good vibes, good vibes. And I just love it. Before we get started, I want to see if our artist is ready. Sister Mad Art, are you ready, my dear? Mad Art, are you ready?
Yes, she
Hello.
is.
Hi.
Okay, hello. Can you hear me now, ladies?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Afe, aka Madar. It is a blessing to see all of you today. Thank you so much for having me again to be able to share with you. We've been talking about HIV and AIDS, but also there are a plethora of diseases that are plaguing our community, and just educating each other, and especially for our sisters, just taking care of one another, letting each other know that we're here for each other is a blessing. So I'm gonna just jump right in with my first poem. Okay. If you feed a stray cat, it'll always come back for milk. We had a loft cat named Pluto that was out of this world. It could open screen doors, inviting itself in, and tried to rub against you, luring you to let it stay. Its condescending eyes peered into mine in the black of the night. I woke up seeing green. I see the face of many, the voices of 100, and the thoughts of those are innumerable. We need to change our faces into poker, change our attitudes into joker. We even change the way we breathe. We have to alternate our voice tones to let you know this is positive, and feed you an innumerable amount of knowledge. It's our minds that matter. That's why it's mind over matter. We are unmannered, unmoved, and unnerved. And that's my first selection for today. It just shows the boldness of our kind. Us Black women are very strong, and we put up with a lot more than we'll speak on. So amen to that. I wanted to share one more piece with you entitled Dinner. My father never finished anything completely. I think that characteristic is genetic. You know, something passed down that we didn't really want to have. I think, or maybe our desire for perfection leaves us in a frenzy. We self-hate and create unhealthy habits, unattached but so strongly connected to the living things around us. At the dinner table, we cut up our problems with steak knives. There are victims in our vegetables and bullshit in our bread. We break it, wash it down with wine. Sometimes to get to those tough pieces that are too hard to chew, we just have to swallow hard. We're medium people, you know, so it's going to be a little blood. No conversation makes for the best conversation. That's what they say. That's a silent killer. Like pride. We're not wrong for how we feel, but we not right for doing how we do. But we know that. Sticks and stones, we throw them. Houses made of glass, they're broken. That's homeless. And they say be yourself. They really mean be who I want you to be, who I tell you to be with, or what I aspire you to do. They tell you to dream of nothing and clock in on time. But make sure you're on time tomorrow, because we're surviving. To have a voice of our own, that's thriving. Thoughtful enough to know how to use it, that's the icing. And as long as we get in this cake, that's what all we got. So what's baking in your ovens?
Yes, yes, and yes again.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Wonderful work. You are such a creative genius. Thank you for this wonderful time. You know, as we talk about mental health, art therapy and poetry, has that helped you on your journey of life and healing? Because your work is very, I can feel it in my soul. Talk to me about.
Absolutely. Everything that I create is from experience. So it's just a way to not only reach somebody and let them know, look, you're not the only one that's been through that or feeling how you feeling. It's also a journey in healing for me to be able to put into words what I experienced. Because sometimes you go through something so tough, you can't even put it in the words to speak about. So you just carrying around something on your chest. So I just thank God that I'm blessed enough that he put the words in my mouth to be able to allow it to come out, and I'm not going to have to keep it in like a lot of people do. And I hope that my words is pouring out of me what's in them as well, if they can't find the words for it. You know what I'm saying?
We thank you so much. Stick around, but thank you so much for sharing those two powerful pieces. And I'm
Thank
sure
you.
we hope to again have you because I love your work. So thank you
Thank
again
you so much.
for joining
Thank
us.
you. It was a pleasure seeing all of you ladies today. I'm going to still be listening in.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. And if you want to share as we begin the process, you have a piece on suicide. Is
Yes.
Yeah, if you want to, as we continue on afterwards, if you'd like to share that, if you're led, let me know and we'll definitely have you on.
I sure can share that today for you. Just
Okay, great,
okay.
great. Just stay tuned. I
All
want to
right.
I want to talk to Sharon. You work with so many, and Angela as well. You work with so many, I don't want to say survivors, but folks that are actually living with the HIV virus. And I like to hear from you. What is the impact that their diagnosis has? How does that impact them emotionally and with their mental health? Can you share?
Sure. So the people that I've been working with for the last, I would say 10, 12 years now, because of the stigma, the first thing that comes to mind is death. I'm leaving this earth right now. I have nothing to live for. My life is done. But medication will allow a person to live. So it's conflicting. Um, and so we have to be more proactive and speaking power to people. It's a chronic disease. It's chronic, no different than hypertension, no different than high cholesterol. Just take your medication. And we've got to learn to empower people. Words are strong. Words, the power of the tongue is a powerful thing. But if we're confident in ourselves, words should roll off our backs. It's not so much how people feel about us, it's how we feel about ourselves. And we're all going through something right now. This pandemic has exposed the vulnerability in a lot of people. And so this is the opportunity I feel that people should now seek other help, because it's kind of hard to try to figure everything out by yourself. And people are full. We see this with all the tragedies we're seeing every day. People are full, but it's unfortunate that people of color, we've never been taught that it's okay to share our pain. It's okay to get help with how to figure out and process life and to navigate through it. And so we encourage all of our clients that there's help out there. There's people that look just like you out there who can understand. Although there's a lot of professional people out there, women especially, they're not thinking that a Caucasian male can tell them how to feel like a woman. One, you're male, and two, you have this different race. There's a different dynamics there. And so it's a great thing now that I see more mental health providers available in the area. But with all the tragedies I've seen lately, it's critical and it's important that we have to trust ourselves, to trust other people to help us. And so it's great to see the young lady, how she found her voice through her poetry. She get it down on paper to get it off of her. But some people don't have that wonderful gift. And so it's encouraging to say, hey, we all need a helping hand from time to time. And it's not a bad thing, because we want everybody to live a healthy, fruitful life. A life where we can smile every day and not feel pain and be in this dark place every day. Because that's not what God brought us here for this earth to do.
Wow, that's pretty powerful. Let me ask you this. You talked about the various tragedies. Are you noticing there's an increase in mental health challenges within the HIV community, those that are living with the virus? Are you seeing any increase in need of service?
There is an increase of need of services, but right now, as this pandemic is, I guess, leveling out, so to speak, for the moment, it's important that people are seeing a specialist in person. Behind the screen, you can't feel the energy. Behind the screen, you can't hear the pain, the suffering in a person's voice. Behind the screen, you can focus on a lot of other things and not be focused on the person who's pouring out to you. And so for me, the clients that I serve, the loudest thing I hear is, I need somebody to be in person. I don't want to do another Zoom call. I don't want to talk to my doctor via Zoom. I want to get up in his or her face and let them touch me, because we've lost our sense of communication. We've lost that social skill. And so people are just bubbling over with a lot of energy that no one wants to put in person now for safety reasons. I get it, but it's important. If we're going to peel these layers back, it needs to be done in a space, in person, where people can feel that energy and know that they're being heard.
Well, when people are newly diagnosed, is that a time where you feel that there's a lot of emotional vulnerability, and it's a part of their health plan to go seek therapy? Is that a part of their healing plan? Or what does that look like when a person is just diagnosed?
From my experience, when a person's first diagnosed, when I tell you that you're HIV positive, they've already zoned out. Their mind is racing 100 miles an hour. And so I patiently hold their hand to let them know, first, stigma, you can't give it to me by holding your hand. Because that's the first thing, people feel that rejection. And then we encourage, because I for one, I'm HIV negative. And so it's sometimes kind of hard to talk to a person who's newly diagnosed if I'm not walking the same walk. And so I feel it's important that wherever a person goes to, there's team members who experience that. Not to say I'm not insensitive, but it just comes off differently. But I'm very supportive of whatever they go through. But I personally feel that persons who are diagnosed, they need that mental health support. Most definitely that one-on-one.
And I have a question before we turn to Sister Angela. Is there ever a situation where the medication for HIV conflicts with any medication they may need in case they're bipolar or they have any kind of anxiety? Can they still take those other medications, or is it a conflict?
They can still take that medication, but the thing is, the other medication, you may have to do it on an empty stomach. You may have to do it before meal, certain times a day. So it's a matter of finding that balance. And that's where it's important for clients to talk to all their providers. Let everyone know what's going on with them. Because, it's so many stipulations. Take an hour before meal, take with meal, take with water, take with milk. Empty stomach. It's so many different nuances. They can get confused and overwhelming for people. So we encourage every person that once you start your antiretroviral treatment, that you talk to all your health providers, because there may be some comorbidities going on. And so you want to make sure that everything will work together and that you're taking things at the right time where you're not making yourself physically sick only because you took something at the wrong time.
I like that. And I like the peer piece where you're talking to someone who's also diagnosed. I mean, someone who can really relate. That's good. I love the work you all are doing at SLK. And I saw some great things you were doing with men on your website. You want to share a little bit more about that? Because I saw art therapy. I was like, wow, I love this. Talk to us. Tell us what you got going.
Yes. So we actually partnered with a barbershop, In Styles of Lanham, who's part of this contest for Men of Courage with Ford Motor Company. And so I think you saw that shop where he's introducing other partners he's working with to say, men, hey, this is a way to get that steam off of you. And so those pictures at Art Therapy that day, they had that. But we actually do go to barbershop and use a thing called the buzz, where we'll pay for your haircut if I can control the conversation. And in that conversation, we talk about health relationships. We talk about men being men leaders, how they're mentoring to younger boys, how it's important to teach your young nephews, brothers, sons, the importance of abstinence for one. But if that's not their choice, then how to protect oneself. And then we talk about HIV. It's not a death sentence because, again, people thinking, oh, I thought it went away. It didn't go away. The pandemic just overrode what was going on. But the HIV epidemic is still alive and still thriving. Yeah, so we've got to keep educating people on a daily basis and make it a normal conversation as they would in a barbershop. So that's one of the initiatives we've got going on right now, the buzz.
I like it. I like In Styles too. That's where my son gets his hair cut. I love that, and I love the initiative. Keep doing what you're doing. Our next guest, she's not really a guest. These are just our sisters that we're having this relaxed conversation with. Is none other than my sister Angela, Angel, Vic. Angie, how are you? We're glad to have you. Thank you, my dear. Is she still with us? Y'all pray for me and my eyes out here. Is she with us? I'm not sure. But Angela, if you're still with us, I hope you're on.
I'm here. The devil is a liar. Hey, can you hear me, y'all?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, yeah. I've been sitting here all this time, and as soon as you introduce me, here you come. No, I got something to say to y'all.
Yeah,
Hello,
come
everyone.
on.
Welcome back again. I really appreciate you, Carolyn and Maggie, for always inviting me. Even though I'm out of town, I'm still part of Sisters for Sisters. Always. That was my first group that I saw after I found out that I was HIV positive. I forgot the question that you asked, Carolyn.
So, girls kicking it, just having girl talk. The question was primarily, just whatever, however you want to share. I want to know the impact that, not the pandemic, most of all, just this time, being HIV positive and dealing with emotional and mental health. What does that look like for you? Have you experienced any things mentally as a result of your diagnosis or any of the challenges you may have faced mentally or emotionally? Tell us about what that looks like. Did you have any kind of situation you had to deal with?
Well, after my diagnosis, which I always said, if I have it, I would never get tested. If I do, I'm just going to die having it. But sharing the mental part of it, after I did learn of it, and it kind of bothered me, but I just let it, along with a lot of my mental illness, just gather space in my brain, and just thought about my son, because both of us had got tested at the same time, to come back negative. So I was like, God, I done been through molestation, I done been through drugs, I done been through abuse, so I can handle it, he can't. So, but I found that sharing, it wasn't caring. I mean, I didn't have a great support starting off, and then I would go way out of town to see a doctor, so wouldn't nobody know. I was ashamed. I didn't know, but I said I was going to educate myself. And here it is, 15 years, 16 years later, I'm doing a lot of things, educating others, but not taking care of my mental, still putting it aside. As long as I can help someone else, I was not thinking of my mental. Now here it is with the pandemic that came through. It was like HIV and AIDS was just pushed to the side, but really it was really serious, and more serious than before, because people had to stay inside and people had to be together and people were scared. So, people was bunned up, and what they was doing, having sex, because you were, confined, and with that, people still were not knowing their status. So I think maybe that's part of why it's still a lot of new, diagnosed cases of HIV, as well as people that don't know, especially our Black women, because, you got guys coming home infecting, not infecting us, having us to contract the virus. You have down low brothers, you have the drugs that, it's just so many different things. And I found that really this year, last year, I was able to finally deal with my mental of it. And I've been having this mental problem for I'm 61. So at least 55 years of my life, because at 5, I was molested from 5 to 11. So, I've always had to be rough and tough, and kind of channel my energy and my hurt and pain, different avenues and whatever. So, make a long story short, last year was really bad for me. And I had a mental breakdown, Carolyn, as we've talked. I went through a whole lot, starting from yesterday was the anniversary of my accident that could have killed me and my grandson. And then I was without a vehicle that just tore me up, because I was finally able to get a vehicle. And then I was in another accident. And then I had all these deaths. Then my grandson went away to college. Thank you, Maggie. And in between that, I had gotten a dog, Goddess, and she's been so helpful with my mental, because then I was alone. I've never had family support. That was the main thing. I've never had family support. I've never had friends or close friends. I had support from strangers or people that I met. Like I met you, Carolyn. I met Maggie. I've met so many strangers first that became family. But last year, but let me go back to the COVID. I was working at the homeless shelter. So I was able to really connect with the guys there and few of the women that were there, and explain the importance of HIV and let them know what it was, and that no, you don't die from HIV, you die from the complications of it. So that was a good thing, that really helped me, because like I said, as long as I'm helping someone with my my mental is good. It's just that when I'm alone, and then I just get to thinking, like, I always wanted my family, my kids, my relatives to just be a part of, this journey. But God put people in your lives that can help you. So here was last year, so many people were dying, not from complications of HIV, which is AIDS, or from the COVID. It was just so many people that were dying. And I kid you not, every week it was like 3 people were just dying somewhere in some state that I was affiliated with, on top of my mental that I was dealing with, that number one, not really dealing with HIV, just covering up, doing something, not dealing with the accident, not dealing with not having no one in my life that really truly loved me for me, not thinking that I could really love someone, or someone could really love me and help me and, go through this journey with me. And I hit rock bottom. I hit rock bottom, but no one really knew, because I can hide it really well. And I hid it really well. So I thought on the inside, but on the outside, I was falling apart. I for my mental, I smoked weed every day. That helped me. It kept me sane. So I thought, but on top of that, I wasn't taking care of myself. I stopped taking my ARTs. I stopped eating. I was just really spiraling out of control. I lost like 40 pounds. I just didn't care. I isolated myself. I just got under a rock and just stayed there. And it was rough. And I was still, turn to God and different people for, help, guidance. But it was like, and I suffer from bipolar depression and so many other diseases that I have. I'm a diabetic, I'm an asthmatic, and everything was just kicking in at one time. But I ignored it. And there's a lot of times I was just like, look, I just want to die. I've tried to kill myself 3 times since being here. And the last attempt, no, the one before the last attempt, I took 3 pills. No, I took probably 6. And thought, I was like, this is it. But then I woke up and I was looking around. I was like, this is not heaven. I'm still here. So I checked myself into a Duke mental institution and got in there, and seeing that people were really crazy. I was like, oh no, I had to convince the doctor that, look, hey, I was just going through something. I'm good. I'm like, these people in here are really, really crazy. So I'm not, please let me out. And I tried to just stay busy, joining organizations, just doing things. As long as I'm helping someone, that helps me, because then I don't think about all the mishaps that I'm going through. I was like, it's always somebody that's worse off than me, but I was really the worst off. I just in the November, I tried to, no, October, my god brother died. On the same day my nephew got a new heart. And on the same day after the funeral, I got into another car accident that someone hit me and didn't have a car again. So here goes the depression again about the car, because that thing tore me up, not being able to have transportation and stuck in the house. But most of all, it tore me up because I had to depend and ask someone. I'm not the person that asks. People help. I help people. I didn't, wasn't accustomed to people helping me. I would always say no or deny the help. But it gotten so bad that I wasn't eating. I just stayed away from everybody. It was just me and Goddess. Kamani was at school. I just couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, steadily losing weight. Then I tried to go be with my family for Thanksgiving, and that didn't work out. So again, November, December, January, really just last weekend, I was able to reconnect with, my family, my kids. And it's not where I want it, but for right now, it is what it is, So but on January the 11th, I began a relationship with a friend of mine from I've known from 30 years. Both of us was out there hustling or whatever, a friend of my cousins. And I had ducked him for 2 years down here because I was like, look, I know of him from the past, but I didn't know how he was as far as the future being down here in Raleigh. But nevertheless, we are together today. And we've been together since then. And the thing about this relationship is that for the very first time in my life, because I didn't have the love from my mother, I didn't have it from my father, I didn't have it from my kids, anybody, even my 3 husbands, I didn't have it from them. But I really was able to find a soulmate that was concerned about me, that cared about me. Even he would tell me things about, the news and stuff, what's new on HIV and different things. I was like, wow, we had our ups and downs and ins and outs going through this, but I'm telling you, on Saturday, and I spend my Saturdays every morning. I've been doing it for years, and I listen at Praise 104 from 7 to 10 o'clock at the different pastors that be on. And he came downstairs, and he was just sitting there listening. And I was like, wow, I had been praying, God, I want to come to you, and I want him to come, but I can't push him, and no one pushed me. So, and he sat and listened. And then that night he's like, we're going to church. And Sunday we got up and fellowshiped at church. And I was like, God, thank you. And, I was like, God, I've asked for so many things from you. I would do this if you did this. I would do this if you did this. And I could feel my mental breaking away because there's someone there that can comfort me, someone there I can talk to. And it's like really 100%. I mean, it's really mind boggling. I had been in relationships before, but I never felt like this love before. And I'm back eating, I'm back speaking at places now. I'm back just learning to love me as well as someone else. But the mental part of it, it was just dark and death. And it wasn't so much as because I was HIV. Yeah, it was. It was a lot of it played the part. HIV played a lot of the part because I felt a lot of people didn't really want to be around me or deal with me really, really 100%. because I was positive. You know, my kids weren't supportive, and I was just able to put that in the ground and just not worry about it until I met someone that helped me help myself instead of helping others. And it doesn't hurt anymore. And it's been rough, being positive, because this is the very first time I'm being honest about it. I just felt I wasn't loved. And I've always felt that as a kid. And as growing up, I didn't feel love. I chose to do drugs that made me forget and not think. And I just, thank God for the steps that he has ordered me. And now it's like pieces of me are getting put together. Like I'm like really, really at the end where I'm gonna be 100%, and I could really get out here and advocate and help others, so no one would ever have to go through the stress, the depression, the suicidal things, and of not only being HIV, but mental illness. And mental illness is just as bad as being HIV positive, because no one wants to admit, especially, you grow up, people think you're a mental illness, you're crazy. So especially in the Black race, you're like, they're crazy, you don't go through that. But it's so important, y'all. It's really so important to not cover or not hide, your mental illness. Just you have to, for yourself, not for no one else. And right today, I feel so good about myself, and I can really get out here and advocate and not hide my true feelings that I had just tucked away and not wanting it, because it hurt. It hurt not having no one really there with you. I would love to see my daughter today. I just told her right before I got on, I was like, yeah, I'm getting ready to speak or whatever. I said, well, you could join in if you want. She's not on here, and things like that hurt, because I've always been there for them, but you can't have expectations on people in this world. You just have to have the expectations of yourself. I'm not going to hold you up, but this is one of the greatest things that's happened for me. I wrote a book. I helped write a book. I'm in this book. It took over 4 years for the group that I'm in, and the lady wrote it. And when I got it, I just cried, not out of happiness, because I did not have any one of my kids to share it with. And it hurts. It hurts to this day. I still have not been able to sit down and talk to them about it. And, I remember one day I told my granddaughter, I said, I'm HIV positive. She laughed. And I couldn't get mad because she doesn't know about it. And people still thinking that you're going to die from HIV, but all they have to do is pick up a piece of paper, literature, or something. You don't die from HIV. You die from the complications of HIV. And if you don't go get tested, you'll never know. And I thank God for being at church, got tested, and I found out. And I promised God that I would be on this venture that I'm on now. And thanks for just letting me share that. I feel better that I got that out, y'all.
Angie, I'm going to have to jump in here because, number one, you are loved.
Yeah, but y'all.
Well, look, some love is better than no love.
Exactly. Exactly.
Those
Y'all
that don't love you,
life,
maybe they're not supposed to. But I'm going to say this because, I have shared some of your same feelings because of my substance abuse. I have felt the same way about my family because I was, maybe still am, the black sheep. but I love this black sheep. And that's the most important thing. We have to love ourselves. But I definitely relate because I wanted so much to have a different relationship after I came off drugs. You know, Angie, I too was molested by my stepfather as a young child. You know, I was a crackhead. I mean, all of that. Streetwalker, the whole bit. So I know how it feels to have people look down on you. But sometimes I think that we think people be looking down on us, but it's us looking down on ourselves.
Exactly.
Sometimes it's us that no matter how much we say we love each other, at times I think it's us looking down on our own self and not accepting our own self. It's something I can't really explain it, but all I can say is sometimes it's us. So that's something we're going to have to be careful about. You know, I appreciate you always coming on. I appreciate you thinking about when I lost my mom. But know that you're loved, and those who can't get with it, don't worry about it. Love yourself and love your life. And it's going to hurt because we do see that big family. We see it on TV. We see it with our neighbors. And we want that. I want that. But sometimes that's not for us. Sometimes we're bigger than that big family that we see. So, you know, sometimes we have other things. You know, sometimes I say, I got to look at the big picture. God might not have put me here to be that family type or have that. He put me here for something bigger, for the world family, for the community family. So you got to kind of look at it that way. But girl, you're loved. And I'm going to buy a book, Sisters with Sisters, even though Carolyn don't know yet. We're going to hold a virtual book signing for you. And we're going to invite.
I got to find out where to get the books from. I just, you know, after I got it and it just, you know, I called my mentor, Allison Matthews, and I just cried out to her because it's something that I always wanted to do. And it, you know, I just didn't have the people that I broke and gave my life to support. You know, I was always the one to help. And I just wanted somebody to care. I just wanted my kids to care. I have family members that have HIV. Some that have AIDS, but you know, I tried to, you know, get people together, but I get more love from strangers, and now I get it, and it's okay, you know. And I need to really handle my mental, you know. That's not only HIV, that's the abuse is what I really never really handled. And when I did handle it was violently. I just wanted to fight. You know, I fought the people that, you know, years later, you know.
You see, with that abuse thing, we got to look at it like it wasn't our fault because we were young. I had to learn that in treatment. And, you know, sometimes it still does not resonate with me. And I have to go back and like, look, don't matter what I was doing with Sam or George, who was my age, but nobody had the right to take advantage of me. That was a grown up, you know.
And I was 5, you know. I'm like, my mother, I have no relationship with her at all. I'm like, where were you? I was 5 years old. I mean, like, and I always ask God, please show me the picture of young Angie and what she went through and what did she do afterwards. And I knew what I did 7, 8, 9 years old, but the first time having to suck somebody off, and I was like always kid myself. I'm like better than Debbie does Dallas, you know. I might as well be a porn star or something, you know. And I chose drugs and I chose my kids, but now I choose right now life, educating, and my sanity.
Right.
And I got deep about I never got this deep. I done been in these classes where, you know, your mental health, and it's hard to find that right therapist, that right psychiatrist, because the first thing they want to do is medicate you. Here's a pill for this, here's a pill for that. But thank God, before they gave me the pill, they make sure it coincide with my HIV medication, my ART that I was taking. But still, you know, and I feel good right now. I done finally released, you know, with
And everything that you went
that
through
love.
has made you the beautiful person and the beautiful spirit that you are now. So you got to remember that, you know,
If I may
because,
jump
and it
in.
ain't all been pretty. I know
No.
that a lot of stuff I went through was definitely not pretty, but it has made me the person I am now. And I appreciate the good and the bad. I appreciate
Lessons that are
the
blessings.
times. I had some fun times,
Yeah.
some frightening times.
Yes.
I had some crazy times, but they all made me this crazy Maggie who I am now.
You know, people call me crazy Angie all the time.
I know. Okay.
So Angie, one thing I want to say, you're resilient. You're standing strong after so many years of mountains. God never said he would not take the storms from us. He said he would help us through them. And he has strengthened you to where now you can stand tall and in your truth, and no one can hurt you with your truth. And
I
so
just
it
was
reminds
able
me of, this coming Saturday is National Aging with HIV. But look at you. When I saw it, I got excited, like, look at her. Oh, she cut her hair. Look at her. Got a
I
new
cut
lip,
it.
got the
You know
glasses.
what, Sharon? The other day, I was in the mirror and I just like, I'm gonna cut it. I just took the scissors. I was trimming it. Then I cut it. Then I cut it. I just cut it off. I said, you know, a new me.
That's
a new
it.
beginning.
A new beginning. And you're
Then the other day
stronger.
I said, well, my grandson, one of them, he's 8. I said, you like my haircut? He said, no, I don't like it. I said, well, what will make you like it? He said, you dyed purple. I the purple. You know, I usually dyed red for the blood of Jesus, but I dyed it purple and he liked it. So I was like, I'll take that. But today is the first time I was able to really talk about Angie, Angel, Angela. Like when I was locked up at 16, I was like 3 people. You know, I was locked up at 16 in an adult jail. I thought I was going to a juvenile home, but I was locked up in there for 6 months in a cell by myself. And I just would get on the bars and Lady said, well, you might as well get down. You're going to be here for a while. And I learned to be alone. I learned to interact with my other 2 people. So it's Angela was abused. Angie Vick, don't mess with her. But Angel, which is my dad always called me, and certain people around my family called me that, and people down here call me Angel because that's what my cousin knew me as, and that's who she introduced me as. She's that hard advocate, not only for HIV, but for kids, molested, but anything that I went through, I try to flip it to better. And I listen at everyone and I take in this and I take in that. But today, by the grace of God, I am able to release it all and accept it is what it is. And I wasn't going to be on this call. I was like, man, I'm going to sleep. But something told me no. And I was like, no, every time they call me, I was like, no, I have to. Because I came to their event and I fought with God about going up there to say, hi, I'm Angie and I'm HIV positive. It was good food and a good talent show. I mean, a fashion show though, but that was my beginning of my advocacy. And now I have so many things in the future, the near months. Like tomorrow we're going on HIV on Jones Street in Raleigh. It's my 3rd time to speak with the congressmen and everything to extend Medicaid and educate them more about HIV. But down here, it's not like up north.
So, and I'm on this board that's FCC, and what we could in it, it's the people forget the word. It actually what it is. We're going down south to churches, because that's where it originated with me, churches and pastors, and share with the pastors so he could share with the congregations the importance of people still getting out here, not only getting tested for COVID, but know your status. So many women are young girls and everybody's still contracting HIV, and there's no reason. You know, they have so many different things down here. I'm not good with titles. I just do things. And I'm blessed. I thank y'all for inviting me, Carolyn and Maggie, and ladies that are here listening. And I feel good today. I really feel good. I feel relief. My mental is always going to be here. You know, it takes little things still trigger it, but I'm able to admit to myself, like an alcoholic, hi, I'm Angie. I have mental disease.
Angie, you blessed this audience. You bless me. You bless everybody under the sound of your voice, because your authentic voice and your transparency is going to heal somebody. I promise you it will. If you had to give one part of advice, one type of advice to anybody who's suffering with mental health or HIV, which one line, what would you share with them tonight?
Treatment. Accept it. Don't hide it. But get into treatment. I would say get with get in the company of people that care, so you can share, and people that will be there. So, you know, you got to accept it for what it is. And I just really today, I'm just like, dang on, man, I'm ready. I can really talk about this, and more talking is releasing the pain. It's releasing the agony, it's releasing the mental. Because I know this summer I sat right here in this kitchen and lined up 10 pills. And I was like, which one is going first? That's how bad it got. And it wasn't just with the HIV, it was the mental part that I never dealt with. You know, I went to this class down here where it was HIV, mental illness, and molestation. That didn't work because I wasn't able and ready until really just now. Thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God, to really release. And I'm in love, y'all. I'm in love, y'all. I'm in love, and it's someone that really cares, and it's just me and him and the dog and Goddess. Anybody know me knows Goddess. That dog loves. My dog prays, y'all, and I would send you video. She does when she knows she's locked up now. She's been bad, but when she sees me, I could be upstairs upset. That dog will run upstairs, get up on four legs, put them hands up. She want to pray. I prayed in dog. Her name is Goddess. She's Goddess and I'm Angel. We're a pair. But you know, y'all just don't know how relief. It's like, man, a big rock, a big lump has been out of my life, out of my chest, out of my head. And God is like, I told you, it don't matter. It's people that love you, and it's gonna be strangers. It's not going to be family. You know, it's not going to be friends. And the strangers that you meet are true people that want the same thing that you want, have been walked the walk that you walk. Now they're able to talk the talk that you're talking. And I thank each and every one of y'all. I really, truly do. Y'all help cure me. My doctors and therapists. And, you know, just being here and let me be able to share and get it out, you know, and I feel good. I really feel good. And I'm going to share my book, and I'm going to talk now. When I get over there and talk to these politicians, man, tomorrow, they just don't know. They got a new woman that is dedicated to help people and save lives, whether it's HIV, whether it's homelessness. I go so hard for the homeless down here. I go so hard for the voting rights down here. And I just want to see change. You know, I started in the church, but where are my pastor or the people that was, you know, do this or crickets?
Mhm.
You know, crickets. But it's churches that will get out there, and if the pastors themselves will put that in their sermons, their congregation, you want to save lives. And that's a great way. So we headed down south to these, you know, rural areas, and people gonna listen. You know, you got to meet people where they are. You might got to change up your dialogue. You know, might got to be hood. You might got to be prissy. I don't know how to be prissy. You might got to be hood, just to be real. Like I met this guy on here on Facebook. My niece said, Aunt Angie, this guy's going off on Facebook because this girl gave him HIV. And we became friends. And I told him, I said, you know what, with your hoodness, you can really, and being in jail and going through all this, you can really relate to someone. And by sharing about that barbershop, I'm gonna get him connected. But I always say, man, you have to tone your voice down. But no, you don't. Because that's how you meet the people that are out there. You know, you can't go to a place where everybody is like out there and then you try to be well, you know, just be yourself, as authentic as you can be, and things will work out. So I'm gonna continue being me, all three of me, Angie, Angel, and Ashley.
I like all three. I love all three. I want to share with you all some resources. If you're tuning in or if you're listening on, here are some resources that can help you if you're dealing with any type of mental health trauma. If you need to really get some help, professional help, 1-800-950-NAMI, that's 6264. Please reach out to them for some help and some referrals from your area. Also, the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, 1-800-273-TALK. That's available. And then, of course, we have our guest on today. They have all types of services. If you want to know more about HIV, get tested. And that's SLK, Health Services Corporation, Sharon's organization. We definitely want you to check them out because they're doing some amazing things in this space. And wherever you are, if you're at a place and you can't remember the numbers, dial 211. Wherever you are, it's a crisis hotline. They will put you in touch with some professionals, because one thing that Angie and Sharon said together is we're not alone. You're not alone. You're not by yourself. There are people who understand where you are, and there is help along the way for you. We have a wonderful word. There was a poem that our sister shared a while ago, and we loved it. We were so moved by it. Mad Art, are you ready to share your poem? And while you're coming, Sister Maggie, we're gonna ask if you'd like to share some words since you're on. What the advice you gave Angie was powerful and on time and on point. Hey girl, how would you like to share anything before you go?
I would just like to thank Sharon, of course, for always being there when we need her.
Yes.
And of course, Angie, thank you for everything. And, you know, you saying that you opened up reminded me of when you first opened up with us over there at the County Ballroom. See,
Yes.
that's what the sisters do. We do
Yes.
it. But yes, so I definitely want to thank everyone for coming on today. And, you know, we are looking for volunteers. So if you know of anyone who wants to come and join us to help out, to help with events, to do outreach, please contact me at 240-505-4131. We are open to volunteers.
Hey Maggie, I have a question, Maggie. how would guys that, because I know a couple of positive brothers, because down here it's a lot of gay men, and that, you know, down south that's really all I'm interested in heterosexual, not to call anybody out, but it's heterosexual men that really could use their voice once they, you know, get to over the barriers. Like I just came from today, like the guy that I'm talking about that I met on Facebook, he's strong. That brother is strong. You hear me? He's strong. And maybe he don't need to clean up. You know, God brought people as they are. You know, thieves, whores, mongbongers, whatever. You know, and then I have a friend that's in Virginia. He used to go to classes, but he couldn't find any. And people want to know. They just don't want people to know that they want to know. So that's the whole thing. If we could kill the stigma, we could kill the disease.
I honestly don't think stigma will ever go away. And I hate to say
We're going
that.
to try.
We're going to have to,
like
we're going to have to work around it. But if you're looking for places for brothers to get in, you know, I told Sister Carolyn that we should have brothers, sisters for brothers, but she, you know, she wasn't for all that.
Well, Carolyn, we need that baby girl.
I think Sharon's organization helps gay, straight, you know, everybody. You know, we kind of focus on women. But, you know, of course, men are always welcome to chime in and to listen in when we have these sessions like this. But insofar as being a place for men, like you're needing, I think Sharon's group definitely would be.
Yeah,
I'll definitely reach out to you, Angela. But one thing I want to say before we close out, it's important as practitioners, we practice self-care ourselves. Right. Because as people pour into us and they release their stuff, we're picking it up.
Yes.
And we've got to dump that as well. And so I challenge you ladies, Maggie and Carolyn, find that space for you. Learn how to separate work from home. But self-care is important for everybody on every level. Yeah. Because it's not just Angela going through it, it's Angela and her whole village.
Yeah.
And so when she hurts, we all hurt. And when she heals, we all must heal. But in doing that, we all must practice self-care. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Sharon.
Mm-hmm.
And make sure, I'd like to leave this word, everybody be very, very prayerful about your tribe, because God is moving new people into your space that are nurturing, that are healing, and that are giving you what you need to rest and heal, as Sharon said. And I thank God for Sharon being a part of that tribe, always reminding me, take care of yourself. And we need those reminders. I love the reminders from my sister Maggie, who I drive insane. I love you, Sister Carolyn. And Sister Angie, I love to be able to say, girl, you okay? Let me pray for you.
Yes.
Watch your tribe. This season, God is sending you some people that's going to help you be all that He called you to be. So I appreciate you sharing, Maggie, Angie, and of course, my art and my technical director. We're going to pray for him. He has allergies, and that's my brother, Anthony Ventura, who I adore. But we're going to listen to this wonderful poetry and then one video, and we're out. We went over the time. Don't charge me extra, Anthony. Go ahead.
I got you. Don't worry about
it. Okay, my sister, my poet. Thank you again. We appreciate you and adore you for being on tonight with us tonight.
Yes, thank you, Amanda, for always being
there for us. For your point.
You our child now anyway, so you.
I appreciate you guys providing this platform for us once again. Thank you, all the ladies that have joined us tonight. Your message has been very powerful, and I've been listening in. Just thank you for your blessings, for your presence. And this poem is my rendition of The Day After I Killed Myself by Maggie Royer. The morning after I killed myself, I woke up. I made myself breakfast in bed, added salt, a little pepper to my eggs. I used my toast for a cheese and bacon sandwich. And then I drank my juice. I scraped the glass clean and put it in the dishwasher. The morning after I killed myself, I fell in love. Not with the boy down the street or the middle school principal, not with the everyday jogger or the grocer who always left the avocados out the bag. I fell in love with myself.
Yes.
I fell in love with my mother and the way she sat on the floor of my room, holding each rock from my collection. I fell in love with my father down at the river as he placed his fishing line into the water to catch our dinner. I fell in love with my brother who once believed in unicorns, but now sat behind a desk at school, still desperately trying to believe they exist. The morning after I killed myself, I walked the dog. I watched the way Max twitched when a bird flew by and jerked at the sight of a squirrel. I saw the empty space in her eyes when she reached a stick. I stood by as strangers stroked her muzzle, and he wilted. The morning after I killed myself, I went back to the neighbor's yard where I left my footprints in the concrete as a 2-year-old. I saw how they were fading. I picked up a few lilies and pulled a few weeds for the elderly woman next door. She always had her hands in the garden, somehow helping me grow. I saw her in the window as she read the paper with the news of my death. I saw her husband walk into the kitchen and sink at the sight of this woman. The morning after I killed myself, I watched the sun come up. Each tree opened like a hand, and the kid down the street pointed out every single cloud. I in one of them. The morning after I killed myself, I tried to unkill myself, but I couldn't finish what I started. It was already done.
Incredible.
That is so deep.
And I really love this poem because, like Angela spoke about before, I've also tried to commit suicide 3 times. And God, the 3rd time, God brought me back, like shook me to life and was like, girl, what are you doing? And showed me the effects of everybody around me if I were missing. And see, I knew I was hurting what I was going through, but I also knew that I was healing somebody else. I wasn't thinking about how much hurt those people I were healing would hurt even more if I wasn't here. And I didn't see that. So God allowed me to see that. And when I came back the 3rd time, now my mission is to just keep pushing and keep fighting and let people know, like, there's a purpose for us to be here. Somebody needs to see your face. Somebody needs to hear your story, because you can save a life and you just don't even know it.
I like to say something right quick from your poem that you just read. Now, I'm a poet too, because Carol, remember I wrote you that poem about domestic violence. And I'm gonna write one, and it's gonna be called "The Morning After I Release My Pain After Years of Living a Life Insane." So stay tuned, y'all.
Yes, I can't wait.
And each one of you brought something to this poem. Thank y'all. Thank you for that poem.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Carolyn, we gotta go. We gotta pay that man extra money.
I thank you all. What beautiful artistry, what beautiful wisdom, what beautiful light. I appreciate you all. Thank you for being on this couch conversation. We will be back on next month. Is of course National HIV/AIDS Testing Day. It's on the 26th, I believe. And then Sharon has mentioned a day on Saturday. That's national. Help me, Sharon. What is it, honey?
It's the HIV Aging with Long-Term Survivors Awareness Day.
Okay.
Yes, so that's a national holiday, well, National Day of Remembrance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. And we want to thank everyone. We want to thank our community partners and those that help support this project, the Prince George's County Health Department for funding, which assists us in making these couch conversations happen. And thank you, Sister Maggie. Thank you, everybody again. And now, for closing for tonight, we wish you all the best and pray you all have a blessed evening. And Brother Anthony, we thank you. Anthony?
I'm Linda H. Scruggs. I've been diagnosed with HIV for over 30 years. HIV may not be what you think it is. It may not look what you think it looks like. HIV is 100% preventable, but it's really important for you first to get tested. Don't be afraid about getting tested. Take control. Take the power. Know your status. Knowing your status is important. Please get tested.